Hello, this is Salah. So today our team is going to be presenting the data visualization final assignment. We are Abdurrahman Taylab, Leonardo Muzi, and me, Salah. So in this project, we are required to perform some visualization and create some visualization tool on a common interest data. So to start with, we created a question. If we want to invest in an application, what are the most what are the main aspects that we should consider? So we also took into consideration some major requirements, such as ensure the data is complete. Completeness means like we may need some merging and some performing some processing of this data, also cleaning the data, no errors, no null values, no outliers, chart selection. So we made sure that we can select the most suitable chart available for us. So yeah, we and the storytelling, my teammates will be covering it next to me. So starting with the data, we downloaded two main data, the Google Play Store and the Apple Store. As we look into the data, we have a lot of string values. We have if we focus on this content rating, I'll be covering something about it, but like when we look at the data needs a little bit of processing. Here also we can go to the another data set. Here we also can see that this data needs some other processing, and it has some string values, some values that it's not clean. So what we did here also, we can focus on the content rating. The content rating here was on written in like numbers, while here in the Google Play it's categories for everyone, teen, and other values. So what we did with this data is we got rid of the columns that are not needed. We starting cleaning the data. So if we take a look about the Apple Store data here, sorry, yeah. So if we look at the Apple Store and data, we can see that it's the same as the Google Play Store data. We made the same. We created the same column names, the values. We merged the values to match each other, and the final point we did was to have the full table. The full table contains both of the tables at one table, one below the other. So one of the challenges faced us while were developing the data and cleaning the data is that when we look at like some points of the size of the data, the size of the application here, we have some values such as m beside the text. When we had to get rid of this, it was like we had to come up with the new formulas, and we had to Google the DAX, which is the language used to perform some programming on the data. We learned about a little bit about it, which was very important for us, and we have some like varies. These kinds of data will have caused some errors on the processing. So we dealt with, and the final thing that we have the price. If we can see the size here, the size, we have it numerical values from kilobytes to full megabytes here. And this is our final data. We'll be covering the visualization and storytelling. Thank you.
Okay, so my name is Leonardo and I'm gonna be presenting our dashboard design before our colleague Abdurrahman presents the insights behind the data. So moving from up to bottom, we can see that we have the likelihood of iOS platform having paid apps over Google Play. So we can see that it has 5.94 times more likely to have paid applications compared to Google. And below it, we have the highest quality applications from both platforms. And in this case here, we can see that iOS platform has the best user ratings with games. And Below we have the platform average size in megabytes in the outside part of the graph, and the price comparison in USD in the inner part. So we can see that, for example, for general data, we have an average size of 18 megabytes for Android, about 18 megabytes, and an average size of 189.80 megabytes for iOS platform. And this can be changed if we change as well the price range for data. So let's see. For example, if we're excluding the free applications, we can see a major change, right? And the price is because Google Play has a lot of free apps. So we can see as well only for one category in particular. So for example, if I choose music here, we can see that Google has an average size of 30.83 megabytes, but only having 3% paid, while iOS has 97% of paid music category applications. So going back to original data, moving next, on the right we have the average of user rating by content rating and platform. So we have both platforms, and we have the average rating, but separated by as well the content rate. So some applications are locked by the user age, so we can see the difference in ratings when it comes to its category. So we can see the change as well when it comes to other categories of applications as well, as we can see. For example, productivity applications, teenagers tend not to like them very much, as we can see on Android platform. Okay, so this is pretty much how our dashboard was designed. And now my colleague will talk about the insights that we got from this data and from our analysis as well.
Hello everyone, my name is Abdurrahman, and I'm here to talk about the conclusion of our analysis. So as my colleague Leonardo has explained the dashboard for you and the visuals, the design, etc., we are going to take a look at the analysis of each one of them. So as you can see over here, it is very easy to see the critical information at first glance. We have our highest quality applications listed over here. So what does it mean by highest quality applications? It basically means that it has a high size, high ratings. Why high size and why large size and why high rating? Because the larger you tend to increase the size of your application, the more likely it is to contain bugs. But by maintaining a high number of ratings, that means that you take good care of your application by fixing their bugs, etc. And then we display the price of the application and the platform that it's most likely to be on. And if you scroll down here, you're going to find that they are mostly iOS applications due to the large size, which is also explained over here in this donut chart. And so what this donut says is that an average size of the iOS application is almost 190 or 200, and on Android it is much less, which is an average of 18 megabytes, which explains this findings over here. But if we reduce the price, because on Android the inner pie chart here explains the price comparison, so it's 82% more expensive than on Android. They're 82% more expensive on iOS than on Android. So if we reduce the price to free, so we only take a look at free applications, and we start to go a little bit down, you start to find that Android applications start to make their name up on the leaderboards. And of course that is because when comparing free applications, Android tends to rise up a little bit. However, if we move on here, we are going to find the average of user rating by content rating and platform. And to explain why iOS have slightly lower ratings than Android is because normally iOS users are just more critical than Android. And not in all categories, however, there are some anomalies. So if we check, for example, weather, you're going to find them, okay, they're pretty similar. But if we go for productivity here, you will see that if you're a teenager, then if you're a productive teenager, then you're more likely to get an iOS than an Android. Apparently, for some reason, iOS teenagers tend to enjoy productive applications more than Android teenagers. If we move on to business here, there are no ratings for teenager. However, this does not mean that iOS teenager business applications are bad. It simply means that iOS does not publish business application for a certain category or a certain age for teenagers, for example. It only says it for everyone and for mature audiences only, or mature users. So what does this mean? This means that, to conclude this all, our ideal application has to maintain a large size, has to maintain a high number of user ratings, and the price range would mostly better be around $10 to $15, and of course it's better to publish it on iOS for more income, because of course they are more priced on iOS. So the category over here, we have the highest rated categories, which are music, and then followed by photography, and then followed by games. Okay, if we check the photography, you can see that these charts are the same and these are the same. Over here we can see that music are much more priced on iOS than on Android. And for games, we can see that the ratings here are somewhat similar. So the ideal application to create would be an application that mixes gamified elements and music and photography elements as well, which can also be explained by most of the new games or the currently trendy games such as PUBG, which also contains some photo mode, and most of the really large games will always have a photo mode in it to maintain the photography category into the game. So the ideal game would be an ideal application would be a game that is of size around 3 gigabytes, try to maintain a high user rating as much as possible, and the price range of $10 to $15. And that's it for our conclusions of the App Store versus Google Play. If you have any questions, please mail me at 200416659@student.georgianc.1.ca. And thank you very much. Please have a great day.